Technical Veterinary Learning TVL channel founded and produced by Professor Ahmed Mamdouh Sharif presents today Management of Diseases Outbreaks in Livestock Farms. This subject is produced and introduced by Professor Ahmed Mamdouh Sharif, Professor of Epidemiology and Animal Infectious Diseases, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, Bani Suef University. Livestock are the domesticated animals raised in an agricultural setting to produce labor and commodities such as meat, eggs, milk, fur, leather, and wool. While other times it refers only to farmed ruminants such as cattle, sheep, and goats. Other times it refers only to farmed ruminants such as cattle, sheep, and goats, as well as horses raised for human consumption in the United States of America and Europe countries. The breeding, maintenance, and the slaughter of livestock, known as animal husbandry, which is a component of modern agriculture that has been practiced in many cultures since humanity's transition to farming from hunter-gatherer lifestyles. Animal husbandry practices have varied widely across cultures and time periods and continues to play a major economic and cultural role in numerous communities. Our mission here in this video is to help our veterinary students, veterinarians, owners of animal farms, and governments to easily control different diseases outbreaks in Egypt. Control of diseases outbreaks, it is a complicated, difficult task that needs cooperation between veterinary scientists, veterinarians, veterinary authorities, different governmental authorities, and owners of livestock animals for success. So, what story do I want to tell? This will be explained in the following shots of this video. The word livestock was firstly used between 1650 and 1660 as a compound word combining the words live and stock. In some periods, cattle and livestock have been used interchangeably. Livestock Mandatory Reporting Act of 1999, page 78 up to 106, title LX defines livestock only as cattle, swine, and sheep. Dead stock is defined in contraindication to livestock as animals that have died before slaughter, sometimes from illness or disease. Traditionally, animal husbandry was part of the subsistence farmer's way of life, producing not only the food needed by the family, but also the fuel, fertilizers, clothing, transport, and draft power. Killing the animal for food was a secondary consideration, and wherever possible, its products such as wool, eggs, milk, and the blood by the Messiah family were harvested while the animal was still alive. I am giving you here a tip. Good husbandry, proper feeding, hygiene, and perfect vaccination program are the main contributors to animal health on farms, bringing economic benefits through maximized their production. Animals are susceptible to a number of diseases and conditions that may affect their health, some like IBR, scurvy, are specific to one type of stock, while others, like foot and mouth disease, affect all cloven-hoofed animals. Where the condition is serious, governments impose regulations on import and export on the movement of stocks. Number 1, understand quarantine restrictions. Number 2, reporting of suspected cases. Number 3, vaccines are available against certain diseases. Number 4, antibiotics are widely used where appropriate. Number 5, reducing the parasite burdens of livestock results in increased productivity and profitability. There is a great fact. According to the special reports on climate change and land during this era, livestock diseases are expected to get worse as climate change increases temperature and precipitation variability. According to the last economical reports, the value of global livestock production in 2021 has been estimated at $1,200 billion all over the world. Although livestock production serves as a source of income, it can provide additional economic values for rural families, often serving as a major contributor to food security and economic security. Livestock can serve as insurance against risk in rural areas. Infectious disease outbreak. Outbreak is a sudden rise in the number of cases of a disease. An outbreak may occur in a community or geographical area or may affect several countries. It may last for a few days or weeks or even for several years. Some outbreaks are expected each year, such as foot and mouth disease, infectious bovine rhinotracheitis, bovine viral disease, and lumpy skin disease, and this is change from a country to another. Control is the reduction of disease incidence, prevalence, morbidity, or mortality to a local acceptable level as a result of deliberate efforts, and continued intervention measures are required to maintain this reduction. Disease eliminations. It is a disease reduction to zero of the incidence of infection caused by a specific agent in a defined geographical area as a result of deliberate efforts. Continued measures to prevent re-establishment of transmission are required. Examples: lumpy skin disease, Rift Valley fever, and foot and mouth diseases, etc., etc. Disease eradication. It is the absence of a specific disease agent in nature as a result of deliberate control efforts that may be discontinued where the agent is judged no longer to present significant risk from extrinsic sources, and further refine the criteria for disease eradication, such as cattle plague. Management steps of infectious diseases outbreaks. 4 main rules during investigations of any infectious disease outbreak. Number 1, quickly detect outbreaks by monitoring nationwide surveillance system that track diseases. Number 2, gather the evidence linking the outbreak to a likely animal source or others. Number 3, communicate to owners and retailers about the source of the outbreak to prevent additional illness. Number 4, none of the following steps. Number 1, feed and water consumption and production should be carefully monitored at all times. Number 2, the typical sounds and behavior of individual animals have to be monitored, as any deviation from normal indicates the possibility of infectious disease. Number 3, immediate action should be taken to prevent inadvertent spread of infection. Number 4, initial steps include setting up a quarantine of the pen, building farm unit area or entire farm, depending on its design and programming, designated separate caretakers for affected animals, and checking and examining sick animals last. Number 5, reach to a correct diagnosis as soon as possible, as owners should seek professional diagnostic assistance rather than trying to hide a disease because of possible public recrimination. Veterinarians and caretakers can and should help dispel this apprehension by maintaining high ethical standards and refraining from discussing one producer's problem with others. Yet, there comes a time when all producers must be abreast of a problem. Service workers visiting affected animals should wear protective footwear and clothing when they enter the facility, and no other farm should be visited without adequate decontamination. Number 6. When zoonotic conditions are suspected or diagnosed, extra precautions must be taken to prevent infection of attending personnel. Notifiable diseases require that appropriate governmental authorities to be alerted and that all in contact personnel be carefully tracked and assessed. Number 7. In some regions, certain diseases must be reported immediately to national animal disease control authorities so that the proper investigation and action can be taken to protect the affected industry. Every effort should be taken to ensure appropriate nursing care, which plays a key role in improving the outcome of a disease outbreak. Number 8. Therapeutic medication should be used only after the problem has been well diagnosed and recommended prescribed by the specialist veterinarian. Therapy is not a sustainable method of a disease control and should not be considered an ongoing part of any biosecurity program. The flock response to medication merely provides the time necessary to investigate, design, and implement further control measures to afford additional need for therapeutic medication. No drugs should be given until a diagnosis is made and a veterinarian consultant, such as at 2018, 3-day sickness disease reported everywhere in Venezuela governorate, but using of an antibiotic therapy in the form of faculty of veterinary medicine for 7 days prevent the outbreak from reach to the farm animals. Number 9. During usage of antibiotics as a method of outbreak control, all sick animals should not be moved or handled until they have recovered, stopped shedding of the disease-causing agent, unless the move is to a more favorable environment as a part of therapy. It is important to consider that some healthy carriers may remain among apparently recovered animals. Now, I will give examples for livestock health and disease control schemes in Egypt. Number 1. Foot and mouth disease control program. Foot and mouth disease is an infectious viral disease that affects all cloven-hoofed animals, including domestic and wild bovine. To prevent economic losses due to this disease, the program in Egypt is implemented nationally, where central financial assistance is provided for triennial by means every 4 months vaccination and surveillance. Number 2. Pestis Diptychomini Control Program. PPR is a viral disease characterized by high fever, inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract, leading to necrosis and ulceration of the mucous membrane and diarrhea. The control program is presently implemented throughout the country by vaccinating all susceptible sheep and goats. For such, central financial assistance is provided for vaccination and surveillance. Brucellosis control program. Brucellosis is an economically important zoonotic disease, has become endemic in most parts of the country. It causes abortion in animals. This component was implemented since 2010, and central assistance is provided for mass vaccination of all eligible female calves between ages 6 to 8 months in the areas where incidence of the disease is high. This program is electable between owners. Lumpy skin disease control program. Lumpy skin disease is a contagious disease causing very dramatic economical losses between cattle during outbreaks, so central support veterinary program of biannual vaccination every 6 months is done to control this disease in Egypt, as confirmed by veterinary authorities post a project work done at 2015 up to 2020 by the following staff members of Infectious Diseases Department: Professor Ahmed Mamdouh Sharif, Professors Shawi Abu Al-Hadid, Assistant Professors Shireen Rida Rubi, Veterinarian Ahmed Jaber Muhammad, Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, Beneswif University. That project was done to confirm the best time of revaccination of lumpy skin disease in Egypt. We keep on the track, so please subscribe the channel to reach to the most updated knowledge about infectious disease and epidemiology of different species of animals.